Hexagram number 21. Biting through. Getting to the truth of the matter. Biting through refers to getting to the truth of the matter. An obstruction is pictured as preventing the lips from coming together, blocking access to nourishment. Nourishment, in this case, refers to attaining unity, harmony with another person. The truth or the sage, this unity or harmony is vital nourishment for us as human beings. Before we can attain it, we must discover what obstructs it. On discovering the obstruction, we experience a breakthrough in our understanding. Biting through the obstruction. And as much as any idea, attitude, belief, or behavior pattern obstructs human unity, that idea or belief is based on a misunderstanding of the cosmic truth. People misunderstand the truth because a culprit exists, an idea that slanders the truth. The most common slanders are false ideas about the nature or identity of God, human nature, the way we should respond to evil, and the way the cosmos works. On discovering something to be untrue, unjust, or simply a mistake, we are meant to resolutely and firmly bite through it. By acknowledging it within ourselves to be the case, we acknowledge it to be incorrect or wrong in no uncertain terms. We do not deny the truth because it is uncomfortable or inconvenient. Acknowledging a thing to be right or wrong automatically and unconsciously conveys our perception to others with no conscious effort on our part. If we waver, we want to excuse something, or because we prefer not to be involved, or because we think it is not that bad, we send the perpetrators, the misleading message that however they behave is all right. We send those who may see our behavior as an example the message that it is not important to come to a decision on such matters. We do not have the right to do this. Once we have acknowledged a thing to be wrong, we must deal with the next question. What are we to do about it? The hexagram answers that we must let justice be administered. This means that once we have acknowledged the presence of an evil element, we turn it over to the cosmos for resolution and correction. Then we withdraw and think no more about it, so as not to become infected by it. Turning the matter over to the cosmos activates the power of truth. However, if we consciously dwell on the problem in an alienated way, if we try to have some intentional effect, or if we intervene by powerful means, the power of truth cannot come to our aid. Involving ourselves in the matter means that our ego, which distrusts the corrective power of the cosmos, has entered as a white knight in shining armor to do battle with the black knight of evil. The intervention of our ego bars the higher power from helping us. So long as we remain engaged with the problem, the higher power is not free to act. The hexagram states that we must interject in biting through the obstacle to unity. It takes great energy to withdraw. Forgiveness means that we try to understand how people are motivated to do wrong. It is to understand the power that fear, doubt, and bad habits of mind have over people. It is also to understand that the creative is capable of penetrating people's hearts and of enlightening their minds. It is customary to think that to forgive also means to forget. This is not the way of the I Ching. We forgive, but we do not forget. Just as in studying history, we try not to forget its lessons, for to do so is to grow arrogant and complacent. We remain aware that people will continue to be subject to their fears and bad habits until they have acquired the insight and discipline that will enable them to break free of them. We do not need to steel ourselves against a person by defining what kind of person he is, just to keep aware that he has not yet corrected himself. Nor do we need to supervise his progress in order to measure where along his path he is. Such attitudes make it impossible to hold an open mind, or to give him the space and time he needs to correct himself. We need only keep attuned to his attitude of the moment to discover when he flatters and when he is sincere. We reinforce his sincerity by relating to him sincerely, and we withdraw when he flatters or is insensitive and indifferent. This is to follow the principle of advancing with the light force and retreating with the dark force. The principle of biting through is to train others by responding correctly to the ebb and flow of their superior potential. If we do this consistently, we will have a creative impact. Withdrawal is the way of the sage of the Ching. Bites through our ego. Withdrawal is the way we are meant to deal with other people's egos. So long as we are sincere, the sage who speaks through the I Ching relates to us. When we are arrogant, he disengages, leaving us to the whims of chance. In this manner, he disciplines and punishes our inferiors. This withdrawal is that of the wise teacher, free of emotion. It is moderate and lasts only for so long as we remain arrogant. Similarly, when the occasion demands, we are meant to withdraw from others into a polite reserve. Even though they may try to engage us again through flattery or to upset us through outbursts. They do this because their egos have perceived a loss of power when we cease to interact, and they seek to regain control. It is important not to be jarred off balance by these challenges. We must remain resolved and reserved until others have become humble and sincere. Even then, we must remember that habit is strong, so that when tensions ease, we do not become careless and forgetful. To withdraw is to punish, called biting through in this hexagram. The sole purpose of punishment is to restore order. Therefore, we may punish only until order is restored. We are not meant to create what the I Ching calls a massacre, whereby we track down and bring into the open every last bit of evil. Evil may not be overcome in a wholesale manner. We may undermine it only through small steps. After each step, we must return to simplicity, serenity, and sincerity. The use of power is not unlike taking hold of a tiger's tail. No sooner do we perceive the punishing power of withdrawal than our ego may seize it ambitiously. We must not exercise the power of withdrawal willfully or vindictively, for it is not our ego's right or place to punish others. To allow it to do so creates bad results. If biting through is in reference to the sages dealing with our ego, we need to search our inner attitude for ideas that exceed a moderate and just view of others' transgressions. It is excessive to take a hard line by viewing them as hopeless, which in Ching terms is to execute them. We need to kill or firmly reject all ideas that slander the truth. Since this hexagram is concerned with justice, it is also concerned with spiritual equality. If we think we were born better and therefore deserve more privileges than others, we harbor a traitor in our inner attitude. Such an idea becomes the basis for indifference and suffering. We should not overlook the possibility that the sage may be biting through our attachment to such pretenses. Biting through also means we maintain an open mind and a proper perspective of the situation. We remember that we began our self-development only because we wanted to achieve something personal and selfish. Even as our path away from selfish, childish behavior continues to be a long and difficult struggle, it is the same with others. Like ourselves, they will come to see that they are following dead-end paths, that they need help to find the correct way, and that to achieve true human unity, they must rid themselves of personal, selfish motives. Such higher truths serve as a basis for an open-minded, moderate point of view. Changing line number 1. His feet are fastened in stocks. While receiving this line may refer to the correct limits for punishing others, a mild penalty for the first offense, it more often refers to the unpleasant experience we have just had. We should develop a correct perspective of this punishment. It is not so much that the cosmos punishes us. The fact that proceeding in the wrong direction is by its nature self-punishing. Fortunately or unfortunately, it is only by making mistakes that we learn to correct ourselves. Changing line number 2. Bites through tender meat. Punishment of others has been carried too far, and we lament that bad effect. No great harm has been done, however, because the punishment was just to withdraw in anger or with feelings of negation is to carry the punishment too far. As in the case of the first line. This line often refers to our being punished by the sage for having an obstinate attitude. Changing line number 3. Bites on old dry meat. Our ego lacks the power and authority to punish others. When we are not truly disinterested in withdrawing from them, but do so to avenge ourselves, we arouse a poisonous hatred. The only purpose of punishment is to prevent excesses. Therefore, punishment must be, therefore punishment must not be excessive. Also, punishment should be concluded quickly so as to invoke no lawsuits wherein their egos respond to ours with retribution. Lawsuits are conflicts between people that may exist on a subconscious level for years. A lawsuit is initiated when one person's ego attempts to punish another's. From that time forward, the person punished seeks retribution. Retribution often takes the form of an attack on one's inner independence. Thus, the lawsuit becomes a king of the heap game that can only be ended when the one attacked ceases to punish or react. The reference to old dried meat suggests that a long-term lawsuit may already exist on a certain issue, and that we must free ourselves from an established reactive pattern. Changing line number 4. It furthers one to be mindful of the difficulties. Here we begin to see success in our effort to withdraw. And remain reserved. Consequently, the other person has begun to relate to us correctly. However, this is only the first step. We must avoid the temptation to rush back into a comfortable, careless relationship that would collapse our work. We tend either to be steeled in perseverance or relaxed in an easy relationship with others. If we can remain neutral and persevering, being neither soft nor hard, but cautious, careful, and strict in inner discipline, all the while remaining open-minded to the extent that our disbelief remains suspended, we will correctly bite through the obstacles to correct fellowship. When just this line is drawn, the hexagram changes to the corners of the mouth. Since this hexagram refers to the thoughts we allow to inhabit our mental space, The counsel is to be particularly careful about relaxing our standards. Our inner thoughts create or cure the difficulties mentioned in this line. Changing line number 5. Bites on dried lean meat. Receives yellow gold. Perseveringly aware of danger. No blame. We would like to be lenient with another person, but our duty is to be impartial. To accept an alliance merely because the person wants it is incorrect, particularly if the other has not become firmly committed to following the good. He must realize through his own perception that a firm commitment to the good and the beautiful is the only vehicle to an alliance. Unity between two people can occur only when both their wills are independently directed toward the good. The line also counsels us to be like yellow gold. This means that because a person seems to have a better attitude, we should not interfere to lead him out of his difficulties. It is dangerous to shield people from the results of their poor attitudes, or in any way excuse and justify their wrong actions. We may help them if they are open to us only when they exert the effort to help themselves and when they work actively at correcting their mistakes. Simply to let them off the hook in our inner attitude is to engage in magnificence and to interfere in what the creative is doing to correct the situation. Changing line number 6. His neck is fastened in a wooden kange. His neck is fastened in a wooden kange. Cangue. Kangue. Kang. Our obstinacy to do things our way rather than to be led results in humiliation and remorse. A wooden kang. The way out requires gradual progress and a humble return to the correct path. We could have avoided the error had we remembered that the sage knows how to make evil circumstances work to the good. It was not necessary to intervene. This line may also refer to another who has got himself trapped by having used wrong means to pursue what may also be wrong ends. This ends hexagram number 21.